Hello, beautiful people. Hello, hello, hello. I'm just waiting for Mr. Matt to come online. I'm waiting for Mr. Matt to come online to do the live. I am so excited. You guys have no idea. I've been harassing him to no end. I almost feel like Meghan Markle harassing people. I have no problem with harassing him. So, because he's a mate, he's my buddy. He's my internet buddy. No, don't get dirty, guys. And yes, his channel is pinned in my on the beginning of this live. Okay, so I'm just waiting for Matt to come on. And yes, I'm not wearing. This is what it looks like. It's actually worse. I was wearing a red shirt, but I took it off and put this black on because this is called the butterfly for lupus. If I put white powder on it, it actually gets worse. So, so yeah. So yeah, that's what we have, guys. I'm taking advantage that my hands are not that awful. So you're not that grossed out by them. So yes. So let's wait for Mr. Matt. Because I know he already came from the gym. He told me he came from the gym. So let's wait for him. But so many things. Please go watch my videos. Go subscribe to Matt's channel, guys. The poor guy keeps getting demonetized. I have no clue why. Because his channel is really, really witty, really, really funny. I mean, the things he talks about, I guess sense of humor is now illegal, or it's gotta be Matt. Wait, guys. I'm always dropping my phone, so this is why I put it in its thingy. Now, you guys who are my members, I have my subscribers, but those of you who are my members, that's City. She's angry at Matt for not. Oh, here we go. Hello. You were making your cup of tea, right? Hello.
How's life?
I
said, how's life? Are you all right?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm doing really well. How are you? Look clean shaven. You must have a job.
Yeah, they make you shave and shower regularly when you've got a job, don't they? Bastards. Yeah, I'm all right. I've just had a shave. Yeah, I just jumped out the shower. Have a hot shower before you have a shave. That's the rule when you're a sensible man, isn't it? I don't think women really care about men's grooming advice, but there you go.
No, are you insane? Actually, let me tell you. For me, I don't know about any other women, but for me, it's the grooming. I don't care if the man is ugly, whatever. It's the grooming. It's the grooming. And people say, oh, well, what if your profession? I know some friends that they are carpenters, painters, and yet their hands, they manage to keep their hands as clean as possible. And they smell nice, they look nice because they look clean. It's not to say that you don't, by the way, on regular basis.
I know. Well, the Royal Marines, right? We get brainwashed when we do our training to be very, very clean. I always have like 2 or 3 showers a day. I never get dressed without getting a shower, and I don't get in my bed without getting a shower.
Me neither. I find that disgusting. Well, for me, because especially I work at a farm.
Oh, obviously. People are disgusting, though. You know what I've learned as a civilian since I left? It's like, you would be astounded how many people are genuinely disgusting, like who don't do the basics, like shower every day and wash the hair.
I know
basic
that.
stuff.
I know that.
Really mad.
But you know what? I was very surprised because in Latin America, men and women, they can't even conceive not bathing every day. Even the poorest people, they go to the river and they bathe once, and they jump and they smell clean. Like there's a spice here. It's called achote. It makes the meat look red. So
I know it. Yeah.
You know what it is?
I do know it. Yeah.
They go into the river, and these ladies go into the river, they make homemade soap with the leaves, some trees that you can actually have. And they do that, and these are very poor women, right?
Yeah.
And then they go there and they look so clean. And then they get this achote and they put it on their lips, you know, so they look nice.
Yeah,
and, you know.
I know it because I had some chicken last year at Mexican. There's a really authentic Mexican place in my local town, and I love the chicken in there. It's like bright red, like redder than my shirt. And I said to them, like, what is that? And it's that achote. It's like a natural herb or a spice, right, that makes it very deep red color.
Yeah. They use it with pigs and everything here in Latin America. I believe that also Hindu food, they also use it quite a lot. They use it to make the curry look red or something.
Oh, that makes sense.
I used to cook curry in England. When I lived in England, I love cooking curry. I'm a very good curry cooker, by the way. I cook really well.
Oh, do you? I'll have to come over.
Oh, yeah.
I love Indian food.
Open and an invitation, always.
It's the only good ethnic food we make in the UK. Like, if you go for a Mexican in the UK, it's terrible. We don't do good ethnic food, but Indian food we do well because it's like an arms race. There's so many of them. They're all competing. And it's one of the best things you can eat back home. I do miss it. I've been to a few places out here trying to find a good curry, and I never can. They're never as good. The only thing they do worse in California, like in California, the Japanese food's great, the Korean food, the Filipino, the Chinese, like Italian, Mexican, obviously. Everything's better than the UK, but the one thing that can do properly over in England is Indian food. It's better than the Americans one. So
I wonder why there's not a big Hindu community in California, I guess. You know, they all immigrate to the UK.
Yeah, they're all over in England, so that's why. But yeah, on about grooming, I'm astounded. And I've told this to guys, you know, like, because I'm a little bit I think a lot of civilians would find me to be rude, but it's because in the military, in the Royal Marines, they even mock the rest of the military. Like we say that the British Army don't shower enough.
God, you're getting offers. You're getting offers.
I'm getting off. Oh, I'm happy with that. It's good for my self-esteem. But yeah, I'm almost rude with it, because I've told people this with my employees. I'm like, I'll just tell them if they stink. If they come in and they're hung, I'll be like, you wash less than a stray dog. You seriously need to get a shower. People find it a bit abrasive, but you know, in this day and age, with this sort of crisis of masculinity as well, you get loads of blokes who complain about not being able to get a girlfriend and all this. And I tell them, like, I used to work with a guy called Dan who he wasn't even that short. He was about 5 foot. He was about 5'6", right? And he had a chip on his shoulder about his height. And he used to say, "Oh yeah, you know, I can't get a girlfriend because of my height." And I was like, "Mate, it's not that." I was like, 5'6". It's not like you're a dwarf. I was like, "You're not that." He's like 3 inches tall, shorter than me. I was like, and I've never had any trouble. I was like, your problem is the basics. Like, and he's not bad looking. I was like, but you look like a scruffy bastard. He looks like he hasn't washed his hair in about 12 years. He's got like bad skin and doesn't brush his teeth and stuff. I was like, if you literally do the basics and have a good scrub every day and comb your hair and brush your teeth and bloody wear some deodorant, you know, and wash your clothes and get the iron out. Like, half of it is the basics that people don't do, isn't it? Yeah, Ragnar's right. Date a short ass. You can always find a woman who's shorter than you.
You know, the thing is, you know, in Latin America, men are very, I think there's a word for metrosexual. Men in Latin America, and even some European men, you know, in Italy. But I've been shocked. Whenever they travel to Latin American countries, for some reason, they think that indigenous people or native people of the country stink. You have no idea. There's even a word here in Nicaragua for them, pacusos, because their feet is the first 2 letters of 3 words. Their feet, their ass, and their armpits. Ginger Gricius, thanks so much, sweetie. Thanks. How do I get more of the long sleeve t-shirts? Oh, I'll get you more. I'll put them on. I'll just remove them because they weren't selling. So this is why I didn't do it. And Ragnar, thank you so very much, Ginger Gricius. And Ragnar here is always with his wisdom. By the way, go subscribe to Matt's channel. For some reason, what's wrong with people not liking you? But I just want to finish my thought. I'm not going to say the name of the prince, but once they had to come to this country and I was the one in charge of everything, like taking them their security. And then when his father, the king, he wasn't supposed to be with the king, but he came because they really liked the country. So then they told me, Paula, you want to take them out to this disco and blah, blah, blah. And I said, sure. The guy is gorgeous. The guy is beautiful. And I'm all excited, you know, because we're waiting for him to come out of the embassy, the ambassador's home, because they were staying at the ambassador's home. And I mean, we're going to a disco here. Latin women, you know, they dress up, men too, you know. He came out wearing the same shorts he'd been wearing in the morning. Clearly, he hadn't showered. He stunk. I mean, the car was air conditioned. We had to keep rolling the windows down. And I mean, even the driver, you know, because they have the embassy driver, you know, so the driver looked, and we couldn't even say anything because the guy spoke Spanish. So, you know, but and the guy, he kept going, oh, you know, it's too hot here. Please roll up the AC. But I mean, that body odor sometimes stays. It's like it transmits to you. I was shocked. Not even being a prince managed to get women to stick around him. That's how badly he smelled.
Boris Oliver. You know, it does remind me though, obviously, like I said, even if someone's really attractive, if they're home, it just instant turn off, like feel like you're kissing an old homeless man or something. And I always remember though, my dad was joking, but I do remember because it made me laugh so much. When I was about 10 years old, there was a commercial on TV in England for Marmite. Do you know what Marmite is?
Of course. You either hate it or love it.
Yeah, you're an educated woman. But and the advert was, you love it or you hate it. So there was lots of comical ways this advert was put across. And one of them was this woman coming into this, you know, there's your average bog standard 30-year-old man, you know, English man with a bit of a beer belly, just sat watching TV. And then his day comes in, she's like ridiculously good looking, like clearly like a top model. And then she leans over and kisses him. And he kisses her, and then about half a second later, he pulls back, and he looks behind her, and she's got a piece of Marmite on toast in her hand. He goes, and like he's reviled and pushes her away. And my dad said, I'd kiss her if she had a mouthful of dog shit.
Oh my God. No, but I don't understand why they don't grooming. You know, my son gets manicure, pedicures, facials, and his face. I mean, my son, I've taught him that all his life. And I said, I don't care what you do. You shower. In Norway or in Scandinavia, or my experience in Norway, at least with the people hung around, they were shocked that I took showers every day. They were shocked. They go like, why are you showering every day? And I'm like,
people, you know, where people have said to me as well, they've said, oh, it's bad for your skin. When I tell them, I'm like, you smelly bastard, like you should get showered every day, at least once a day. Like I said, I never get showered once a day. It's typically twice. And they're like, oh, it's bad for your skin. And I'm like, listen, people just say that because they're smelly bastards. I've been showering twice a day since I was fucking 17 or whatever it was. And my skin's fine. So don't tell me that showering twice a day is bad for your skin. You just want an excuse to be a smelly bastard if you say that.
Yeah. You know, I've always done that, you know, and especially in the farm. You know, I get up at 3. I always shower before I go to bed. Always. It's not, you know, I do. I get up. I shower again, and then in the middle of the day, I shower again because it's really sweaty, especially when you're being on the horse or working on the field. You are an admin, so you can actually answer and do stuff, Matt. So I sent you the invite to your Gmail, so you can accept it and you can do all kinds of things. Because I want to talk, guys. We want to talk about a few things. I've been laughing all morning, guys, because that's the most amazing thing. And you know what's so funny? The black belt barrister, he did the same video that you did, but with less humor.
Yeah.
This is about that lesbo police UK woman.
Absolute weirdo, isn't she?
What did she do to begin with? Remember that she attacked this autistic girl, this poor autistic girl?
All that she did, she said, essentially, for those that don't know, she's a scrawny 90-pound, emotionally incompetent policewoman in England who's clearly like an out lesbian. So she's got like a boy's haircut, and she tries to, you know what some of them do. Again, I'm not having a go because like I said, I've been pro LGBT since I was a teenager. But some lesbians do a very, very bad stereotype, like a caricature of what they think a man is, which is weird, isn't it? Because as usual, I always mock the woke people for being upside down and back to front. Everything, they always contradict their own arguments. If you let them talk for 5 minutes uninterrupted, they contradict their own arguments all the time. And another good example of that is when they keep talking about how sexuality is like fluid and everything's fluid and everyone should be able to choose and everything's choose. But then whenever they like decide that they're the opposite of what they are, they become an instant stereotype. So they say that like, oh, the patriarchy says that men are this and women are this, and it's all nonsense. And then when a man wants to be a woman, he's the most overt stereotype of a woman ever. Like a normal people like me, I don't think all women are very, very feminine, but they do when they want to change gender. So they're the ones who say everything should be fluid and gender's a myth and all this nonsense. But when a man wants to be a woman, they put on like pink lippy and a pink handbag and pink leggings and a fucking My Little Pony hat and act like ludicrous little pink children on pink roller skates. And when they want to act like a man, they do what she does, which is this like ridiculous manly posturing.
You know what? I've learned
they have a short haircut. You know,
I learned this because I didn't know this. I have a lot of gay friends, guys, by the way. I didn't know that there were two. Well, apparently there's many types of lesbian, but there's the diesel dyke and there's the lipstick lesbian. The diesel dyke apparently is the one that you described.
Yeah, acts like a trucker. It's like a truck driver. Yeah, they are ridiculous. And this is what I'm saying. They always contradict their own arguments. Normal people like you and I, and like I said, we disagree on some things. Normal people are floating around that sort of middle ground. So we don't agree on everything, but the centre left, the centre right, the middle ground, the libertarians, the conservatives, none of us have anything in common with these woke people because they're lunatics. And that's what they do. They contradict themselves all the time. You just have to listen to them talk for like 10 minutes. You don't even have to interrupt. And they'll have already refuted their own arguments on 6 different occasions because they can't be consistent in anything they say. And that is just one of millions of examples I can give where they say gender's a myth, it's a social construct, there's no such thing, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as one of them wants to do a play up to agenda, like Sam Smith, the talentless fucking singer, he says that he's whatever he is, polyamorous, genderqueer, fluid, fucking whatever. But when he wants to be a woman, he dresses like a 1980s prostitute standing under a bridge in like a sinker state in America. It's truly ludicrous, the things they do. And she's doing the bad stereotype of a man, which again, people like me don't.
This little gem here.
Oh, God, that is shocking, isn't it? It's shocking.
I posted it. I mean, when will this stop?
Do you know why that offends me so much? Obviously, because I'm a soldier and, you know, you get really hoisted on board how important that type of stuff is. That offends me so much because the argument that people that are educated about this whole thing, this movement, and especially the people who know the real tragedy of the First World War, Flanders Field and the Battle of the Somme, all that, the death, and that was the first war that really used human ingenuity and technology to just turn the world into a charnel house. Like that was the first fully widespread mass scale death, like devastation. It made the battles of the medieval era look like cakewalk in comparison. So the reason everybody feels so strongly about this is because, you know, the poppy is to commemorate all of the war dead. And whenever anybody ignorant, there's a famous Celtic football player in England, because a lot of them are commies, aren't they? Celtic fans, the sort of weird, self-loathing Scottish people who wish they were Irish communists. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. So let's not go on about it too much. But essentially, he was one of these people who hates the poppy. And when all the football players start wearing the poppies, he's one of the very tiny minority who has a chip on his shoulder because he's never read any long book. And he's decided that the poppy has something to do with British imperialism. And it doesn't. It's literally to commemorate every single person that ever died in war, basically. It's not even just.
By the way, females included, and we don't see
everybody
asking for a side that is pink.
Exactly.
No, we understand that it's everybody. You know, I know you don't know when I say it, Matt, but I don't know for those of you who don't know, Mr. Matt here is a war veteran, and you don't see him PTSD and has his ass all over the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect to those who suffer that, you know, because not everybody has the same mental health, strength or whatever. But I mean, here you have a former Royal Marine. You were, right?
Yeah.
Did you do tours?
Yeah, I deployed 5 times. I invaded Iraq, and then I went back a year later. I went to Afghanistan twice. Anyway, like I said, I don't often go on about it. I don't have a military themed channel, really. It's just my nickname. But the point I'm making is the poppy exists to commemorate every single person that's ever died in a conflict. And when you get these stupid, chippy, self-loathing Scottish-Irish communists who say, I don't wear one because it's something to do with British imperialism or the patriarchy or whatever fictional nonsense they're coming out with, everybody's always knew it was bollocks, which is why they are literally like, it's a tiny minority of people who have a chip on the shoulder about the poppy, like 2%. Almost everybody is like, we can all wear it. Doesn't matter whether you're a Sikh, a Buddhist, a Jew, a Muslim, black, white, yellow, anything. It's just to commemorate everybody who's ever gave their life, usually in the peak of the condition and the youth and the happiness, and that were taken away because of war and conflict. So there is no need at all to do any form of classification in there. As you say, you don't need a pink poppy, you don't need a white poppy, you don't need a brown poppy. And this bullshit is just that, as if to say, we know thousands of gay men died in the Battle of the Somme, because statistically, but especially in the early conflicts, 90%, well, 99% of them were men, weren't they? In the Battle of the Somme, gay people died. Everybody knows that. There's nobody has ever said that they haven't. We know that there was gay men then. I'm sure some of them bloody poets were gay. Only a gay man can write so eloquently about male emotions, right? There was tons of gay people died in conflict. We all know it. We don't need a special classification for the poppies. And the thing is, you and I and people that have paid attention knew this was coming, because the fact that they even altered the rainbow flag was evidence of it. Because again, you'll know this. That little stupid triangle they put in the middle. Do you remember when they like added the triangle? And it was like, oh, it's a black stripe and a brown stripe and a fucking sky blue stripe to signify all these different people. The rainbow flag was supposed to be inclusive. When they started flying that, you know, in like San Francisco decades ago, it was because it represents everybody. The colors don't represent people. It's the fact that it's the rainbow. Like, for example, the red doesn't represent Scottish people that go on holiday to Spain and don't wear sunblock. The yellow stripe doesn't represent Asian people. There was no need to add a brown and a black stripe. It was just a rainbow because it represented everybody. And the poppy represents everybody. The idea that need to change it.
Everybody bleeds red. You're not going to bleed a rainbow. You're not going to bleed that little rainbow there.
Yeah.
You know,
it's ludicrous.
I'm disgusted by it.
So it is. It's appalling. There's no need for it. As I said, the rot started when they added a black and a brown stripe. It's like, no, black and brown and foreign people are covered by the rainbow. The blue stripe isn't for the fucking Smurfs. The yellow stripe isn't for the Chinese people. The red stripe isn't for, the red stripe's a Scotsman who goes to fucking Spain on holiday and forgets to put some sunblock on. The stripes weren't representative of people. The rainbow represents everybody. And then they go, we need to add a black stripe. It's like, no, you guys are already in there. I mean, everybody's aware that there's gay black people. You're already in there. And like, that was a guy who I was served with. Me and him did a tour together. He's represented by that rainbow if he was gay, and he's certainly represented by the poppy. And if he was brown or black or born in India or Pakistan or Jamaica, he's still represented by the poppy. Doesn't matter what he is. Doesn't matter whether he's Catholic, Protestant, or Jew. He's represented by the poppy. So that shit genuinely offends me. It's complete bollocks. Oh yeah, and I went to Northern Ireland, but that was positively pleasant compared to compared to Iraq.
Every time that picture when you shared that on Twitter, I on X or whatever I want to call it now, I started crying so much because I'm very patriotic when it comes to this way. And I know you don't like it when people say to you, thanks for your service, but I really do. And I'm pretty sure all of us here, thank you for your service. I know you're very matter of fact about this, but what I want to say that to me, that poppy is such a huge disrespect for this young gentleman here. It's like they're trying to politicize the death to turn it into some sort of like a queer thing. The queers have to be represented. No, nobody's asking this young man what was his sexual preference when he died. He went to war, you know, and he defended his country. I mean, he wasn't thinking, oh, you know, I hope that my pink thing or my Smurf thing, my whole thing comes on, you know. So from me, I know you feel uncomfortable when I say this to you, but I have such huge respect for you and admiration. And I'm so thankful. And I can guarantee you that everybody here feels the same way, you know. So thank you for your service, dude. And just say thank you when people say that. You're welcome.
All right.
Say you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. We're British, though. We don't do it, do we? We mock people that we like. Yeah, thanks anyway. But the point I'm getting at is, though, you know what I'm saying? It's preposterous to me. And it's another thing you could say about it is that people like me have always called them the regressive left, because they say this woke thing is actually taking us backwards. That is another example of what I'm talking about, isn't it? Because people have pointed out that, like, gay support for gay marriage, and
I'm just reading something of the things that you posted that Prince.
Oh, that's all true. They're all real quotes. They're all real. But
it is true. You're too fat to be.
Yeah, said that to a fat kid who told him he wanted to go into space. Yeah, like they'd be like, they'd have to shoehorn you into the spaceship, wouldn't they? Like, get in, fatty. But no, you know what I'm saying? It definitely is divisive and backwards because, for example, support for the gay community started. It's been up and up and up every year for like decades, and now people are actually starting to get annoyed because they're drawing these divides. And the whole point was in the 90s and the noughties when we were being progressive in the real sense, and that we were making progress against injustice and unfairness. That has been reversed by the woke thing, because if you start putting a category in for gay people like that, you're basically segregating them. That is segregation. The poppy includes everyone, and they're saying, no, we need to have our own section. And lunatics, the race grifters in America, they've started saying they want segregation. So people like Martin Luther King, who spent the whole life saying we need to get rid of segregation. The modern militant activists in America are saying, no, we need to go back to segregation because that's progressive. It's like I said, it's ludicrous. Their entire argument's just upside down and back to front, as far as I can see.
Yeah, but it's I gotta tell you, it has gone to. I mean, the other day I shared something about Prince William, you know, because I've forgotten about it. Because you know how the cycle of news are. They like you to forget about what they've done. I mean, a month-old news is like really a month. It's like ancient now, given how fast social media is, right?
Yeah.
For some reason, you know, in my feed, it popped up Prince William talking about the BBC. What's his name? I got what's the name of that mother effer who tricked Princess Diana for the Panorama interview?
Oh yeah, Martin Bashir.
Martin Bashir, yeah. And then all the executive, all the BBC big people knew there were complaints, and nobody. I mean, for me, you know, I have this very big, deep thing that I believe when you throw a stone, no matter how small it is, it creates ripples, right?
Yeah.
Had Princess Diana not been tricked, probably she'd still be alive, because as Prince William said, it made her more paranoid. It made her dispense of her security. It made her, you know, mistrust everybody else. She already had some issues. It doesn't mean that she was crazy or mentally unstable. Anybody who comes here and says that on that chat, I will block you. What I'm trying to say, you can see that I'm a fan. So I'm a fan of two kick-ass ladies, because to me, the queen is an icon, or was an icon. But anyways, so that led to many things, right? As Prince William very eloquently said, it created problems in his family. It made his mother dispense with security. It made her more paranoid. You know, it made her take decisions that probably she would have never taken had she not been deceived. You know,
and he's a rat, isn't he? An absolute rat.
And it really makes me angry that nobody. I mean, this guy. That's fraud. They even doctored documents. Isn't that fraud?
Yeah, probably. But he's in the UK. They're being protected because he's one of the protected class, isn't he? The fact of the matter is, this isn't just opinion anymore. This is now a proven fact. I've been saying it for years, and you could possibly have dismissed it as opinion for a couple of years, maybe back in 2015, 2016. But since everything we've learned about the grooming gangs and what happened there, and now finally the cherry on top of that dog shit Sunday is the response to Hamas and Palestine in the UK, because essentially what it has proved is that this two-tier legal system that, you know, anybody who isn't woke has been talking about for years now, this two-tier legal system has been proved to be factually accurate, because they made all these laws about hate speech, right? And then when you get 10,000 people on the cenotaph or in any capital city in Europe where these hate speech laws are applied, whether it's in France or Germany or Belgium or Spain or England or Scotland, you get them laughing and dancing in the streets when a girl gets raped and murdered, and they're actually physically jumping up and down on her corpse on social media. And when these people laugh about it and praise God and dance around the streets with the flags, nothing happens to them. Nothing. This is a pro-murder pie. But if I say something slightly off colour about someone like Martin Bashir, and the authorities decide that there's any form of element of prejudice or bigotry involved in it, then you get a visit from the police. So it's proven beyond any.
They demonetize your channel, or you get an email. I mean, bloody hell.
I've been banned. I guarantee I've been banned off YouTube more than Abu Hamza got banned off a flight.
Yeah, I know.
It's mental. You know, he goes on television and says, "Death to all of." The funny one I did see was a guy who obviously doesn't speak very well, good English, and he was in New York and he had a sign that said "Death to all juice," like Juice, like orange juice. He was like, "Death to all juice." I was like, "Fucking hell."
Can't even spell.
Yeah, what's his problem with Tropicana? But it's so ludicrous, isn't it? And it's proved that there is a two-tier legal system. Like, they can celebrate mass murder and gang rape and literally killing children. Some of the footage that I've seen on Twitter, because I don't believe in facing a difficult truth. I sort of seek out some of the bad stuff because I want to see it. I want to get angry, and I want to see what's happening in the world, and I watch it, and I've seen some horrific things. You know, there was you might have seen, did you see the one where they threw a grenade into a house with a guy in it? And the two kids.
Actually, you know, I've been at the farm trying to save my trees, you know, out of 8,000.
Yeah, more important.
I have like 2,000 standing.
Yeah, well, you should take more interest in your own life rather than politics. But anyway, yeah, it was truly horrific stuff.
You have no idea how much I suffer when you get banned, because, you know, it's like I really get angry with you when you get banned, because I'm like, well, you know, it's like, there goes my entertainment for the day, you know?
Yeah, well, don't blame me. Blame the tyrants that run these bastard platforms. But anyways, you know what I'm saying? There is now indisputable proof. The conflict in Israel going off now, the latest, the gift that keeps on giving. Basically, they have proven beyond any doubt that there is a two-tier legal system, and there's a protected class. And the idea, I mean, I made this argument before. I think I was on Ragnar's podcast or somebody else's, and they were asking me, what do you think it will take for this to end? And I said to them, it'll never end. These people who think, somebody said to me, if a group of Hamas/jihadi types detonated a dirty bomb in New York and killed 1 million people, do you think that'd do it? And I was like, it won't. It would not do it, because there's nothing more.
You know who financed Hamas first to begin with, right?
Oh, I have heard. I know. I don't even want to disappear down that rabbit hole.
Okay.
The Israel-Palestine.
Because I've lived through stuff like that here and in other countries where these groups are financed by sometimes the very same people who are not fighting, and they end up putting them up there. And then, you know, for me, the worst part of it all, though, is that people equate that all Palestinians are Hamas. That is not the case. You know,
of course
I know of countries, people think that all Cubans are communist, or that all Venezuelans are communist, and that they have free choice in the government they choose. They might have gotten their free choice in one election maybe 30 years ago, but then they never get down. And people there are trapped. And you know, and I've used this parody before. If you don't know how to swim and somebody pushes you down a deep end, and you don't see what's out there, you just see something there, and they throw your hand at it, and you just grab that hand, that's gonna save you. You know, when you have no other recourse, people get desperate. But people have to understand also that Hamas is a group. It doesn't represent, and people this does anger me. Oh, but people chose Hamas. It's like,
some did. Yeah.
So, no, and when they did, now they're never getting out of it. They're never getting off. Yeah, they're never getting off, because once they get to power, just like Fidel Castro fought for the dictatorship, because they get in power and they never leave. So he fought for free elections. And what did we end up with? With Fidel Castro.
Yeah.
Hugo Chavez. Gaddafi. Saddam Hussein. I mean, you know this. And we know who finances these people to begin with.
I don't think that any normal person, i.e. like I said, the 90% are aware of this, because it is linked to one of my problems with this sort of woke movement. It's ultimately, to distill it right down to the most simplistic way I can, it's a form of radical collectivism. They always collectivize people. And free thinkers like us don't collectivize people. So I don't think any person thinks any conflict like this, you can collectivize someone unless you're a communist or a wokeist like they are.
Well, it's an international war crime to collectively punish people, Matt. Can you imagine if okay, let me give you this. Can you imagine Meghan Markle saying that I know this is very, but can you imagine Meghan Markle saying we're gonna kill all the royals because one royal told me that I heard that the royal said was what color is the baby, and we're gonna completely,
if it happened at all,
of course, right? We're gonna dissipate and kill every living royal that's ever lived because one royal kind of heard my ex-husband or my now husband said that, there were comments about the skin of the color of the baby, which is bullshit, but still that's what the idea that I want people to understand. It's just like it's wrong for people to say we're going to kill all Jews because some Jews in the government are making poor choices. You know what I mean? Because then we fall into that same rabbit hole. We have to learn to distinguish and separate.
I love taking the piss out with the Scottish because they keep voting for the SNP, but obviously it's only about 50%. It's only about 50% of them, and as you say, it's exactly right in Paula. Ultimately, most people, those of us in the world that aren't political ideologues, most people, whether they're Palestinians, Jews, idiot Scotsmen, most people are more concerned about feeding the wife and kids and getting the children a good education and paying the bills and improving the lot in life than they are in going on some fucking crusade, which is the whole point I keep making about the woke lot. Why I hate them so much, because they're all upper crust or upper middle class, university educated wankers. The reason that they've got this political thing is because it's a hobby for them. Working class people are just busy working. They're not interested in fucking going on a crusade.
I completely agree with you. Most people are, you don't wake up thinking, only fanatic. You know who I think is profiting from all of this? The people making guns. They're making
massively.
Since Biden came into power,
Biden loves
hated Trump, because Trump, I think, is the only president who didn't start a war.
I know.
To broker a peace treaty between Arabs and Israel. I think his son-in-law traveled for the first time with a plane that landed in Dubai or something like that. Can you correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah, no, that was right. He moved the embassy, didn't he, to Jerusalem? Essentially, this is why it's so hilarious to me. Trump they said he was a madman and he was going to cause World War III. And he turned out to be a foreign policy savant. And he got the Chinese to be his mate. He got the North Koreans, which everyone was like, oh my God. He got the North Korean to be his mate. The North Korean was like, oh, we're going to nuke the Americans. And Trump was like, go on then, fatty. I'll press my button and we'll see which one works. My button's bigger than yours and mine actually works. And then he went, oh, okay, maybe we can talk this out. And 6 months later, he was pals. And I was like, so the orange oracle turned out to be a fucking miracle worker. And he got the Jews and the Arabs to be mates. He got the Koreans on side. He got the Chinese on side. He got the Russians on side. He was the bloke for all of his fucking for all of his crass behaviour and his nasty tweets on foreign policy. Nobody sane can slag him off. Even Democrats. Like, if you just lay out, I've had arguments with them because you know me, I'm aggressive and chippy when I've had a few pints. I'll argue with them in a bar or something. And even the most diehard Democrat, they will have to concede because the evidence is so insurmountable. They'll be like, okay, I hated him, but on foreign policy, I'll give you that. He was a fucking savant when it comes to foreign policy.
Well, you know what his foreign policy was? His foreign policy was, it's not good business for America, for the United States to be in war.
And they knew that.
Business. He approached the presidency as he approached this business. What is the most, I remember, we'll never forget this. When he was sitting at the table, I think it was with the UN or something, NATO or something like that. He was in Germany and he's saying, the United States is not going to give you more money. We're actually cutting down the money for a UN or aid, and they're looking at him, and it's like.
And do you remember when all the Germans were laughing at him?
He said, "You want a war with Putin, but you're buying his oil. Why don't you become independent?"
And they were laughing at him, and everything he said come true. That's what I mean. That's why I call him the Orange Oracle. He's like a fucking soothsayer from the old days. If this was 1,000 years ago, we'd all be gathered around him in a village while he was like throwing knuckle bones and telling us our futures. He is a fucking oracle. And I just think it's mental. Like, you can see, this is where I start getting a bit conspiratorial, because in all my life, I've never been a conspiracy theorist. But when they came out against him as aggressively as they did, and as I said, in 2016, I didn't vote for Trump. I wasn't a Trump voter. But unlike people that are pathological, I changed my mind when given evidence. I've said that about everything. Religion, I'm not religious. But if God appeared to me in a dream and said, you best start reading the Bible, dickhead, I'd start doing it because I've got some evidence. You know what I mean? And I changed my mind. I didn't vote for Trump and I didn't like him. But look how much worse the world's got.
It's not that I hated him. It's not that I hated him. But I remember The Apprentice. I think I told you this. He just comes across as arrogant. And I didn't like The Apprentice. And he fired one person that I really liked, and I thought he wasn't fair about it. So I remember I would watch The Apprentice just to bitch at him, because I thought he'd made a poor choice or something like that. And I remember when he said, I'm going to run for president, I go, why are people like him allowed to run? It's like I was so. Yeah. But what really turned it for me was when my son voted for the first time. I told you this story. He voted for the first time. We were in Norway.
Oh yeah. Clearly.
And then he voted for Trump. Vote mail to Colorado because that's where he was registered, and we got immediately an email like 2 days later, thank you for your vote, it's been registered. And then later we get through the mail that he voted for Biden in Pennsylvania. Yeah. And when we reported it to the American embassy in Oslo, they go, we don't deal that, you have to contact the police. And I said, well, somebody has my son's fucking social security number and is using it. So I reported it to the police. They couldn't care less. Oh, you have to report it to the Republican, to the Democrats. So because I said, no, this is fraud. Somebody's got, so I had to hire somebody, and we investigated that there was a 7-Eleven being used as an address for my son's voting thing, and that they had been used. So I reported it to the police. Nothing came of it. It was my son's first time voting.
Yeah. Well, like I said, and that's another conspiracy theory. Like, no,
that's not another conspiracy theory. That fucking
I'm saying it's one that's got me on board, is what I'm saying. I never thought voting rig, nah. And then I fucking spent a couple of years actually learning about this stuff, and it was like, they definitely, you've got to watch what you say, because YouTube will just fucking slam you if you talk about it too much. But this is why I dance around all the words and use a lot of metaphors. Yeah. Essentially, they always use the words to obfuscate. They always say, there is no evidence of widespread fraud. That's the word they use, because that is true. Like I said, the clever, the professional liars. That is true. There is no evidence of widespread fraud, but there definitely is proof of narrow apertures of fraud in the correct places that are ample to cheat in the election. Because what people who don't understand the American system don't realize is, you don't need widespread fraud. I'll ask you the question. Do you know how many votes Hillary Clinton lost by to Donald Trump? Do you know how many votes it sat on?
I don't.
68,000. That's it. It came down to less than 100,000 votes, because they've got this system in place where you need to get the Electoral College and you need to have the seats. And when you go to those swing states, especially around the Rust Belt, Pennsylvania and all around there, all you need to do is strategically drop 20,000 ballots off in about 6 or 7 different places, and you will easily rig the presidential election. It doesn't need to. So what they say is, oh, there's no evidence of widespread, as if, okay, well, if you're not dropping off 10 million fake ballots in the fucking middle of Los Angeles, oh, there's definitely no cheating. That's not how you do it.
Or through Chinatown, like the presidential documents that Biden gave a right to, a little tour through Chinatown.
Yeah, yeah.
What was that all about?
The fact is, the evidence suggests that they definitely did cheat. And I also said it passes the common sense sniff test. Like I always tell you, people back and forth all the time. There's professional liars on the media and in Silicon Valley. So the best thing to do is just trust your common sense, the sniff test. If it makes sense, it's probably go with your gut, right? When there's evidence, because you can always find evidence from both directions in this day and age. And the fact of the matter is, it passes the sniff test because the level of utter derangement, way beyond any amount of common sense. Do you know what I mean? People hated Obama on the right. People hated George Bush on the left. But there is nothing like the insane... That's why they've come up with a name for it, right? Trump derangement syndrome. There was nothing like that. People hated Obama on the right and people hated Bush on the left. But the thing we've seen in the last 5 years where it's literally like change every rule, break every rule, prosecute the guy, jail it. I mean, we had Nixon and we had Kennedy and we've had all these people, but not a single one of them ever got close to getting prosecuted. Donald Trump, they can't stop fucking prosecuting him. He's been in more trouble than not.
And I mean, in the meantime, you have Joe Biden with his son, you know, where they have so many. I mean, the whole thing is really, really disgusting. And this is the thing, Matt, that I do not like extreme views. For some, and also the people have lost the ability to comedy, you know, to make fun of things, to debate. You know, you and I don't agree on a lot of things, but, you know, we can laugh about it. And we can, you know,
normal people can all the time, yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, it's incredible, you know, just off topic a little, because I want to ask your opinion on this. This guy was banned from Twitter because a year before, but before the Queen died, he said that the Queen would die on September 8th, 2022. He posted it a year before she died. He posted it on September 8th, 2021. And he said that the Queen was going to pass away on September 8th, 2022. Well, he was banned because, you know, that was morbid and blah, 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 blah. Well, his account got restored. And then he said that Charles is going to pass away 26 March 2026.
Right. Yeah.
That's the first thing he posted. I was just laughing my ass off. I mean, I did a video today because I want to ask you about this, because, you know, the Invictus Foundation, they did the veterans thing.
Yeah.
And I did a video this morning where this woman is giving a speech thanking Meghan Markle, and she describes her as being the wife of a veteran. And I mean, by Harry's own admissions, he didn't see a wounded soldier. The only time he saw a wounded soldier was on his way back to the castle. You know, so it is safe to assume that this man has not seen action. Like, I don't think he's been on the field. Is that safe to assume?
Yeah, of course.
No, because I know you had other ideas about him and blah, blah, blah. But is it safe to assume he's never seen a live action that, you know?
I don't think he ever came under contact. He went out on the ground, probably did a few what you call force protection patrols, which is just bimbling around the base. I don't think he ever got actually contacted by the enemy. He went out on the ground with his
bodyguard, because I know he had the Gurkhas protecting him and SAS people, right?
Oh, of course he did. Yeah, they're not going to leave him on his Jack Jones, are they? That's why they put him in a helicopter.
No, but the thing of the matter is that I saw. I keep seeing, and I want your take on this. Why do you think that, as toxic as these two are, why is Harry allowed to talk on behalf of veterans or do stuff like that when he hasn't really suffered anything? He's no longer part of the royal family, but they're still doing that about veterans. What do you think that is happening? Because it's looking very poor. I'm one of the people who I'm actually speaking against Invictus Foundations, because if they're using him as a role model, and unfortunately the one who gets screwed are the poor veterans, you know, And why do you think that is being allowed to happen still?
Well, I've told you why. It's because ultimately, especially in the UK, but now all around the world, the sort of UK class society is being exported all around the Western world. And essentially, the people that now run it despise the working classes. We've always known this in the UK, but it's obvious. Orwell talked about it. The people that advocate for the working classes don't like them. The elites are the uniformly middle class and upper class arseholes that get educated at Yale and Harvard and Oxford and Cambridge. They don't like people like me. They don't like soldiers. They don't like working class people. They view them as rough-handed, uncouth. Oh my God, they drink 10 beers and they drive white vans. I mean, in the UK, it's not even. Yeah, but I'm saying in the UK, it's not even hidden. Emily Thornberry was pummeled for it because she took a photo of a normal bloke's house with a white van outside and an England flag because it was the World Cup, and she put it up on Twitter and was like, look at these rough-handed working class people with their patriotism and their fucking horrible, uncouth habits. The Brexit thing, they just literally say to you, if you voted for it, you're thick. You're thick. You didn't understand what you were voting for. And they know, despite their claims to the contrary, that 9 out of 10 soldiers are working class. It's always been a working class profession. So that's why they don't want a working class person involved. They use it for brownie points, but they want upper crust twits to do all the fucking talking and get all the credit because they don't like working class people. Prince Harry and his mates don't give a flying fuck if I get my legs blown off in Afghanistan. It's bollocks. They don't like us because we're poor. Everybody knows it. Elvis Costello's song was all about that. Oliver's Army. It's a classic song. And he says the boys from the Mersey and the Thames and the Tyne. Because that's it. You're getting the working class scum from the big cities in Britain, and that specifically the boys from the Thames and the Mersey and the Tyne is referring to Liverpool, Newcastle, and London because it's the Thames, that's the Mersey and the Tyne. And they don't like us. Most military people are working class. I mean, for myself, I joined for ideological reasons after the Luxor tourist massacre, but a lot of people who go in the military just need a good job. It's always
carry anywhere, could they? He couldn't even pass the entrance. He couldn't even pass. He didn't have to cheat for that. And then his aide helped him get into Sandhurst by helping him pass the test. I mean, this is the thing that I don't get. But you know what? I think the Queen did care about the troops. I really do think she did. I think she was a lady from her time when she saw World War II, and everything, the horrors of everything. I think the Queen did love the army, and her military servicemen, and she paid honor to them. She was. I love that. I love that they brought her in that military plane, back to London, when I was crying my eyes out all the time, but.
Well, she was genuine. So I think she did like working class people. She was a genuine woman, but most of them, like I said, she was from the greatest generation. She was an old lady. This modern elite that's sort of been a cancer that's consumed us in the last sort of 30, 40 years. They hate working class people. They don't like military people. They have nothing in common with them. The Guardian used them as useless.
That's the worst part. They have no achievements of their own.
I know. They've got nothing.
You can answer a comment because you're in there, so go for it. But to me, I don't understand. When I see them standing on the graves in the United States. When they did that thing on that cemetery, remember that they went and it was like a photo op wearing the puppy. I mean, to me, I have friends of mine who have lost their sons, they're Marines, may they rest in peace. And whenever I see that, I just get very, very upset. And because it's like, I always think, one of my friend's sons managed to survive to speak to her, and the last word I was with her, unfortunately, I was there. And this is something that hit home for me. I'm not going to repeat what he said, but to me, it's like, fuck, and we have this man using these veterans, because I can tell you they didn't fly private like Harry and Meghan, because Meghan went to complain that, oh shit, I didn't bring my own personal makeup artist, you know, and I'm thinking a room full of veterans with legs blown off, arms, you know, some of them are going through heavy PTSD. They don't have a mansion to go back to. They probably, the high of the game system, the high they go, and then they go back to their little homes, to their everyday struggles, which probably includes financial. I can guarantee you that probably they came in cheap buses or whatever, you know. So for me, I don't understand that, why that's allowed to happen.
Yeah, well, like I said, we don't matter. We're all useful idiots to them. I love how the Labour Party, especially in England, are like the champions sell themselves as the working class heroes, and every single one of them is a middle class arsehole. It's very, very depressing.
That, something like that.
Half of them. I mean, one of the depressing thing about that is, as a working class person, it's very depressing to know that when we got our chance, we buggered it all up. Like for years. A couple of centuries ago, you had like the whole country was run by like 90 rich families, and when we got our chance in the sort of 60s and 70s and started moving on to what we've got now, look what a pig's ear we made of it. When we got our chance, we elected people like Angela fucking Rayner, or Diane Abbott, or David Lammy. I mean, the bloke, I wouldn't trust him to sweep my kitchen fucking floor. Like, you'd think you'd say, sweep the floor, mate, and when you come back in,
do tell me how you feel about it, Matt. Do tell me how you feel.
Yeah, like you'd come in and you'd empty the fridge all over the fucking floor. Like, the people they're just lack wits. Think about it. This is, you know what I'm saying is true all across the Western world, because look how sorely led we are. We're led by the stupidest people, sort of middle-class midwits who don't know anything and have no common sense. In Canada, they all got up and fucking cheered for a full-blown Nazi. Like, you don't need to be a history buff. Think about it. I only got a comprehensive education in England. You don't need to be a history buff. If they're telling you, oh, this guy fought against the Russians in Ukraine in 1943, you don't need to be a history buff to know, guess whose side he was on, right? He was obviously a fucking Nazi, and the Canadians all got up and cheered him, because there isn't two brain cells to rub together in that room. I
was laughing my head off, and of course Trudeau disappears when shit like this happens. I don't even know how that man's still representing Canada. And you know that he banned social media, for example.
He was a tyrant. What about the protests? The truck protest? He's just a fucking tyrant, isn't he?
No, but you know that they banned. For example, you try to get certain things in Canada, and it says this cannot be, this is banned in social media and stuff like that. I mean, and now you have Ofcom and the United Kingdom. Did Charles give it its royal assent finally? Because everybody's been quiet about it.
Yeah.
Did he give a royal assent, do you think?
I don't know. I haven't actually heard.
Nobody said that, because they said that it was waiting for royal assent.
If he's got any fucking sense, he won't. Like I said, I'd rather put one of the corgis in charge of fucking Canada than Justin Trudeau. The bloke's an absolute log. It's offensive to me.
I wish I had Ragnar. I wish I could be in Ragnar's head for a little bit. I mean, where does he come with those things? Turd. Turd.
Yeah, it's a fucking rat, isn't he? It's just a rat.
No, but it's horrible. It's horrible. And then he's LGBTQ. I don't know how many of those things, you know, but it's insane. I was so angry about all of that, you know, because to me, I'm looking at these things, you know, and again, I'm very much a centrist, or maybe I don't know if it's a centrist, but if I see, I like common sense.
Well, unfortunately, if you're a centrist, that makes you a Nazi. It's 2023. That's the way it works.
But yeah. I mean, but like for me, I like common sense. If something makes sense, oh, okay, you know, you talk to me, let's debate. You know, you can, like you said, you can make me change my mind. You know, but present something. Oh, don't come back at me and say you're racist. That's why you think that way. Or, you know, you're no back, that's because you think that way, you know, or whatever it is that you do. I don't like it. I really don't. That's not an argument, you know, come back to me with something so we can actually engage in a positive manner instead of shouting at each other, you know, and it's, And
Yeah, the world's gone crazy, hasn't it? You can't. This is what I'm saying. You can't. This is why I just call them commies, because that, to me, that's what they are. The old left were perfectly reasonable about having an argument. They used to like an argument. This is the point that Peter Hitchens made. In the old days, you had a proper left and you had a proper right. Essentially, the parliament should just be an adversarial parliament, is how the system's supposed to work. It should be Guardian reading left-wing wankers like Owen Jones having vociferous arguments with right-wing old-school conservatives like Jacob Rees-Mogg. They should just do an argument, and that's what you have. And instead, you've got this now where it's a stitch-up, and everybody just agrees on everything all the time. And it's fucking
wants
pointless.
to know if you were served in the military at the same time as Harold.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, I met him briefly when I was doing my...
That one you didn't tell me.
Didn't I?
No,
All right, well, when I was...
You cheated on me. Probably you said it in your live, so you cheated on me with another YouTuber. You told...
I didn't talk to him. I didn't talk to him like... I just said hello, basically. But essentially, when I was doing my pre-deployment training on my second tour of Afghanistan, he was doing his OPTAG with us, and I briefly seen him like now then in the galley. And I remember because one of the guys, our QM, was showing him round, and he said to him, "Oh, do you want us to? I'll show you where the shower is." And Harry said, "Oh, I'm all right. I've already had one." And one of the lads shouted, "Oh, see, typical pongo," which is our term for the army, because we say they don't get washed very often.
Oh,
so someone shouted "typical pongo," and everybody started laughing. But he was on my pre-deployment training, and when I was in Kajaki with a guy called Ben McBean, whose name you probably don't recognise, but Ben McBean is famously knows Prince Harry, because we did that deployment, and then Ben got his legs blown off. I think he lost both legs and one arm, or was it one leg and one arm? Anyway, he got the casualty evacuation from Afghanistan, and me and him were based in the same place in the Helmand province in Kajaki. And then he went home with Prince Harry, Ben McBean. So this will have been, 08 or 09? So yeah, he was in when I was in, and he deployed.
Did he have bodyguards around him, or was he alone?
Not when we were doing pre-deployment training, and I didn't see him in theatre. But pre-deployment training, he didn't, because we weren't in an operational capacity. We were training in theatre is when you're actually in the country. So you call it being in theatre when you're in Afghanistan. You do your pre-deployment training. We were at like Sennybridge in Wales or wherever the hell it was. It was just a big army, a battle camp in Wales. And everybody there is in the British Army or the British Air Force or the Navy or the Marines or whatever. So he didn't have anyone special with him then. But, I mean, you wouldn't need it. He always had an entourage. He always had a few fucking high-ranking officers following him around.
How did this man manage to be in the army now that he was always doing drugs?
Well, because this is what I'm telling you, because...
We're not guessing. This is on spare.
Well, the rules are different for them. This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if it's because you're not from the UK and I'm a cynical Englishman, but we've always known the rules are different for them and us. If you're an upper class twat in England, you can do whatever you like. And if you're a working class scum, you can't. Drugs tests in the military are for people like me. They're not for people like him. He can do whatever he likes. It's just the way of the world. And like I said, it's unpleasant to see that they've basically exported that all around the world, because now that's how it is. There's rules for thee and not for me. The elites and the rich and the very, very famous and the woke can do whatever they like. Rules are for you, not for them. So that's why Prince Harry could be... You've asked me that more than once. How come he can get away with this? And I just keep telling you, because he's Prince Harry. He can do whatever he wants. Prince Harry can do whatever he wants. Look at Joe Biden. I mean, to a lesser extent, it's the same there. If you did what Hunter Biden's done, you'd be in jail 3 times over. He can do what he likes. He's got the footage on his own laptop that's gone globally viral, where he's got massive quantities of crack. He's beating up prostitutes. He's buying illegal firearms. He's done mass fraud and accepted money from the enemies of America, and nothing's happened to him.
That's true.
Trump,
and he's crossing borders, by the way.
How many times have they arrested Trump? Like I said, Nixon. Trump, if you made me take public transport exclusively for the next 12 months naked, I would have been arrested less than fucking Trump has in the last 6 months. Like the
Absolutely.
bloke, it's a 2-tier legal system. Prince Harry can do what he likes. Hunter Biden can do what he likes. But if your son tries any of
Bill
this type of
Clinton, Hillary
shenanigans, they'll be
Clinton,
in
Nancy
jail.
Pelosi.
All of them. How is that legal? Nancy Pelosi, insider trading. In my job in America, I had to go on a course to learn.
$187 million worth Visa.
I had to go on a course and learn all about defense federal acquisition requirements in the United States. And they basically told me, if you are working with anybody who works for the government, do not fucking buy them a sandwich. It's like if you buy them a cup of tea, you'll get done for fraud because they'll say you're like influencing them. So I'm not allowed to spend $2.99 buying a bloke a cup of tea. Nothing. But if you're fucking Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, you can literally take millions of dollars from,
I think it's
from
the amount
enemies
that's
of
the
America.
embarrassing part, Matt. It's not you can't. It's just that you don't. It's not high enough to be a worthwhile bribe. So you don't, because these bribes have to be so high that it's worth it for them to lose their jobs. So even if they lose their jobs, they still have millions to fall back on. It is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
But let's finish this because I know you have to go to work. But let's finish this just quickly on this happy note because I'm pissed off about this actually.
Yeah.
Why do they always choose Latino food? Why do we get the Latinos always screwed around? Meghan Markle, I don't know if you guys saw her in that thing with Family Guy thing there. And that they're doing a sponsorship. They always, and what really bothers me too? They always put too much hair on Harry.
He's going bald.
But why do they? They're Chinese. You and I were having this conversation early. There's Chinese food, which is big in California.
Oh, they won't pick on them. Well, Mexicans are sort of like Schrodinger's minority, aren't they, out here? No, they're like Schrodinger's minority out here, aren't they? When the woke lefties want to pick on someone, they'll always go with the Mexicans because when it suits them, they're white, aren't they? They're not a minority. Like when it suits them, they're just white. So it depends. If you get a Mexican who is right wing or he votes for Trump, then they'll just say, "Oh, he's white. What does this white man know?" If he's left wing and woke, then he's a minority. That's why they like picking the Mexicans because they're a nice fluid. The gender fluid. What would you call it? Minority fluid. A left wing Mexican is a cringing minority who deserves respect and help and assistance from the state. But a right-wing Mexican or a Trump-voting Mexican or a conservative Mexican,
or even
he's
black,
just a white guy. He's just an evil white man.
Yeah, black people are conservatives. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know.
You cannot be conservative.
Oh, they've said it, haven't they? They said Kanye West not black. Kanye West not black, but Hunter Biden is.
Or 50 Cent. Do you remember when 50 Cent said he advocated for Trump? And then this white chick who used to be his girlfriend, I can't remember her name. She's some sort of B-list or D-list actress. I'm trying to think of her name. She went into this very famous talk show. And she said, "Oh, did you hear that 50 Cent, what's it called? Promoted Trump?" And she goes, "Oh, no. I've changed his mind. He doesn't know who he's voting for. He doesn't know how to vote." So she's telling a black man, a white woman, a white privileged woman is telling that a black man can't make up his own mind. And she has to tell him how to vote.
Very progressive, isn't it? To essentially go on television and say black men are too stupid to be able to learn or vote for themselves. Only in their mind, as I keep telling you about them refuting their own out, only in their mind are they being progressive. When I just say things like, I think we should be colorblind because I'm not a collectivist and I'm well aware that there's lots of black people that happen to vote Republican, that is bigoted. But if you say black men are too stupid, so I'll tell them what they should think, that is progressive and liberal.
If you're a white liberal female.
Yeah.
If you're a white conservative female, you're called racist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you're a white conservative female, you've got internalized misogyny. And the reason you do it is because you hate yourself and women. Makes loads of sense, doesn't it? Makes loads of sense.
Isn't it great that Huckabee, the governor of Arkansas, I mean, we're going to end it on this. I want to hear your opinion on this. She had to legislate that the word woman is not a dirty word. She had to legislate that it's no longer a birthing person. It's a woman who gives birth. There's no longer a breastfeeding person. It is a female. It's called mother. It's, it is and people are trashing her, but it's incredible that she says it's the left that have made a woman a dirty word. After all these years, we women have fought to have some basic rights, some rights, and in some countries in the world, women still don't have rights. And now, if I've been actually taken down twice on TikTok because I called that Marsh guy. Remember what's his name? I can't find
Jeffrey Marsh, the absolute creep. Yeah.
Because it was considered hate speech, because he was saying, no, I called him out on that. Oh, follow me on Patreon because your parents don't know what's best for you. So if you're confused, pay, I think it was $10 or $20 on
He should
Patreon.
be in jail, shouldn't he? He should be in jail.
And then I said, and he's wearing this lipstick with beard or something like that. And it's like really creepy SF. And then I said, you're not a woman. I am a woman. And I got a strike.
Yeah. Hate speech. This is what I'm saying. Facts are hate speech. The world's gone mad. Just take solace from the fact that, as I said, these people live in a total echo chamber, and the reason they legislate is because in the circles they're running, that's a weird minority opinion. But in the real world, 95% of people aren't woke and they hate them. And it doesn't matter whether they're left wing, right wing, centrist, libertarian, whatever. 95% of people are not woke. Normal left wing people are all right. They're not woke. Normal right wing people are all right. They're not woke. Nobody agrees with these people. They only legislate because they live in an echo chamber. And that's why I said they were mind blown about Brexit and they were mind blown about Trump. But if you're a normal fucking working class person who actually goes outside once in a while, none of this stuff was surprising. It's because they live in their own little fucking pixie land and they don't even know what's going on. And that's why we're so sorely led, because these people are morons and they don't know anything. So as I said, fuck them. Let's get on with life. You've got to be happy and just think, I am better than the people they call elite. I know more than them. I'm cleverer than them. And I've got more common sense than them. So that cheers me up. Being led by fucking idiots should be good for you. Good for your self-esteem. Yeah, I'm up there with the cream of society because I've got more sense than any of them. So who cares, right? It's funny. It's funny.
No, but it is incredible. But we're gonna end it here because Mr. Matt has to get ready to go at 1.
Yes, I do.
So we're gonna end it here. But we're gonna have him again, or you can have me on your channel. Run to subscribe to his channel. He's always getting shadow banned, and you have to stay on top of him because even when you click notification, you're not notified. I know that from personal experience.
No, they don't like me. Yeah, again, it's because being normal is apparently being hateful in this day and age.
What you should do, Matt, is you should send me a WhatsApp. And then with the clip of when you're gonna go live, so I can post it on my channel because a lot of people get notified.
If I remember, I will do. As I said,
thank you very much.
I've been working a lot, so I apologize that I've been busy, but I'll try and get something done this weekend. We'll see. I'll do a live stream on Monday or something.
And I'd like to do a live with Ragnar. You know that I wrote him on Twitter and then he disappears. I'd like to do a live with the two of you because that will be a lively one.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, he's not known for being he's known for being forthright in his opinions. But yeah, we'll square it away. And yeah, I've got to get to work. I'll see you soon, Paula. Thanks for having me on, and thanks everybody in the chat. All right.
No, thank you for having come here to the channel. I am sorry I harassed you. I threatened you. I begged. Thanks so much for having
You've got a low bar. I've got a very, very high bar for harassment, Paul. Don't worry about it.
Thanks for having come, guys. And go subscribe to Matt's channel, please. And